my Goomba Rudy G ain't playing. He's got the goods on Creepy Joe, who only ran for president so when the shit hit the fan, he could play victim and say the president was trying to get him because he was going to beat Trump in 2020. This asshole has a hard time beating a breakfast egg, much less a president that has 50,000 people who can't get into stadiums at his rallies. Biden, Traitor 44, and damn near the entire U.S. government are guilty of high treason. There are foreign actors in the mix here as well. No doubt we will see massive shitstorms before the November 2020 election. We know that the Hildebeest, a.k.a. the Oven Mitt Fashionista or Kevlar Kunt, is going to make another run. Well, at least her doppelganger is going to run, because she croaked 9/11 2016. Whoever it is that's playing Hillary, it ain't her. So if the doppelganger wants to step into the role of a traitor, no problem. A short drop and a sudden stop will appease both the patriots and the sleeping masses when all of the years and decades of corruption and treason is finally revealed.
The President of the United States knows the Vice President's not going to be home. He's going to be meeting His Holiness, the Pope, today overseas. That's going to be a big deal. And the President's going to be giving some remarks at a pro-life rally.
I was sitting next to you.
I know. Oh, Rudy Giuliani's here, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, you buried the lead.
Not the Pope. It's not the Pope.
Rudy, I know you've got some new evidence you're going to be presenting today.
Lot.
But first, were your ears burning yesterday? Because yesterday the Democrats in their House impeachment proceedings were talking a lot about you. They talked about Lev Parnas, who says the president and you knew everything that he was doing. They showed your phone records. They built a case that you were up to no good for the president.
How about all of those phone records show that I am a very hardworking lawyer who was investigating what really happened, because I didn't go look for dirt on Joe Biden. It was handed to me. And it was handed to me a year, almost a year and a half ago.
You didn't ask for it?
No, I was given information about Ukrainian corruption. It involved by two people, two informants. You're going to find out at least who one of them is, and possibly the second. And they told me that there was a great deal of collusion going on in Ukraine to fix the 2016 election
in the United States
in favor of Hillary, that what happened in Russia was a big hoax, that actually it was the Democrats projecting what they had actually done in Ukraine. I don't know if it's true or not. They gave me witnesses, the two prosecutor generals, the current one and the last one. I've since interviewed 10 of them. I've got 8 of them on tape. I'm going to start a podcast at noon today. And starting next week, the people will hear these witnesses who our embassy will not give a visa to, because they're still covering up the corruption the embassy was involved in.
They don't want them to come to the United States?
The embassy was involved in gathering dirt on Trump Jr., and on Manafort.
Well,
not only that, they were involved in turning over falsified evidence, absolutely completely falsified. 4 witnesses will testify to that over the course of the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Mr. Mayor, let me ask you.
I'm going to present over the next 2 to 3 weeks shocking crimes at the highest levels of both governments, while the Senate is listening to a totally phony group of stories about non-impeachable offenses. It's like trying somebody for not a crime. It's a total waste of money. It's a complete show on the part of the Democrats.
Right.
And they should be sued for conspiracy to defraud the United States, and they should pay for that hearing.
But Mr. Mayor, do you...
The Democratic National Committee should pay for that television advertising. And you talk about interfering in the 2020 election. You know, I started investigating Biden 2 years ago when he was thinking about running for president. I never thought he would run. Looked to me like he couldn't cross the street, much less run. I wasn't investigating Biden. In the middle of the corruption presentation, one gentleman said to me, well, you know about the Biden bribe. I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, Biden got paid off. And he went to Poroshenko. He forced the prosecutor out. Not only did he get his son out, but he got Burisma out. So one of the things we're going to reveal, we always ask, why did this happen? Why would a crooked Ukrainian oligarch whose company is about to be taken away from him, who's sitting in Switzerland with $5 billion he stole. All this is just fact. His name is Mykola Zlochevsky. This is all true, what I just said. He hires the son of the vice president, who just got thrown out of the Navy for failing a drug test, had been in and out of rehab most of his life, was a failure in business, and was involved in 2 or 3 other scandals involving his father before, including busted companies where they were using his name, Joe's name. Why would he hire this guy? I'll tell you why. He was buying Joe Biden to protect his company. That money, which is at least $8 million, and it could go up to 20, based on the investigation they're now doing, but at least $8 million in laundered money, some of it, that was to buy Joe Biden's protection if and when Poroshenko came after his company. And then, when it happened, in 1 month, I've got February 2nd of 2016, they raid Burisma offices and close it down. So much for there was no investigation going on. February 15th, they get a notification from Latvia that Hunter Biden is involved in the money laundering. Have it in writing, translated from Russian. And then right after that is when Biden says, get rid of Shokin.
And here is Creepy Joe bragging about how he got the prosecutor who was investigating Burisma Holdings fired.
And I went over for, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I said, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I looked, I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid.
And Shokin will testify to that, and I will show you a document that in September of last year, Shokin was taken to the hospital with mercury poisoning.
All right, so let me just get a word in. I know you.
And you know that this happens. You know this happens in Ukraine and Russia.
Right. So,
the
Mr.
method
Mayor,
of choice is poisoning.
So let's just say that everything you say proves 100% true.
It is 100% true.
Would you also say that the way you approached it, in the short term, which we're in the middle of, has made things worse for the president?
No, I would say the way I approach it is for the benefit of the American people. When the vice president of the United States corrupts the president of another country, that is about as horrendous a crime as you can find.
But don't we have an apparatus to pursue these things?
The apparatus to pursue it was...
you could still lead it through
Brian, you're being totally naive.
In what way?
The apparatus to look at this refused to look at it. The witnesses will tell you they tried to get this information to us for a year. They were blocked by the embassy. They hired a lawyer to go to the Justice Department to tell them about Ukrainian collusion. And since they didn't know anything about Russian collusion, they were basically thrown out. They will tell you that at least one of the FBI agents was corrupt, and they didn't trust any longer the FBI or the Justice Department because they were convinced that they were still being controlled by Hillary Clinton partisans. Absolutely. Now, these are foreigners, but not a bad conclusion. I couldn't go to them. They wouldn't let me go to them, and if I went to them, they would have laughed at me. I had to prove it first. I had to go prove it because we have, unfortunately, at the highest levels of some of these agencies, they've been either corrupted or intimidated. You know what they're intimidated about? Biden should have been prosecuted already for bribery. It wasn't only one bribe, it was 2 bribes. The first bribe was Poroshenko, through a lobbying company.
The former leader of Ukraine.
Poroshenko takes over the country. Zlochevsky flees with his $5 billion. Zlochevsky's afraid that Poroshenko is going to take his company, and then Joe Biden gets announced as point man for Ukraine by Obama. Point man, whatever that is. I know what it is, actually. And he says he's going to be giving out the money. They had $800,000 left in their national bank. That's how much money Yanukovych stole. Zlochevsky being one of his mafia members. Zlochevsky had $5 billion of it. They're coming after his money. They're coming after his company. All of a sudden, Biden is announced as the most important guy in Ukraine. He's going to give out the money. Then he hires Biden's son. You know what happened in between? He made a deal with Biden. You be on board to protect me against Poroshenko taking my company. When they moved to take the company, that's when Biden came in and had the prosecutor fired. And within 4 months, the crooked oligarch who's sitting with $5 billion comes back to the Ukraine. He is not prosecuted. Right. He is sitting there fat and happy with his company. And then we got another bribe. You don't think the president of the Ukraine shared in that $5 billion that the crook kept?
Rudy?
The bribe to the president of the Ukraine, the amount of money, I can't be absolutely sure of. Let's say it's well in excess of $10 million.
You know, the entire crowd has...
Now, that shouldn't be revealed? Right. From a lawyer who finds out about this? Am I going to cover it up the way the Democrats and the media cover it up? Absolutely not. I prosecuted too many corruption cases to sit by and watch my country sold out by a vice president who did it 2 other times at least in China.
So how does this end?
This ends hopefully with Biden finally being put under investigation. You don't think if these things were said about Donald Trump and Donald Trump Jr., they wouldn't be under investigation immediately? But instead of putting them under investigation, they're coming after me.
Rudy,
they want to kill me.
When are you going to present
in terms of reputation?
Pardon the interruption.
Shokin, they're trying to really kill.
Rudy, when are you going to present the evidence? Because you tell a compelling story. People want the proof.
Today at noon, I will give an introduction. Starting next week, I will present witnesses. I have them all on tape.
Okay.
We'll reveal them one at a time. We'll show there are 2 bribes. Not one, actually 3. First one was Zlochevsky buying Biden, Joe Biden. The second one was Biden bribing Poroshenko to drop the case. And the third one was the huge amount of money that Poroshenko got, the president of Ukraine, for dropping the case.
And does the State Department and the White House know everything you were doing?
The State Department, I gave them my evidence. That's when they moved the ambassador out. And they never bothered to investigate the allegations that she interfered in 4 investigations, that she was campaigning for Hillary Clinton during the 2016 election.
The ambassador.
The ambassador. That one of the cases she had dropped was on George Soros' company, Antac.
I didn't hear any of this yesterday.
Antac was gathering dirty information on Trump. That on January 16th of 2016, there was a meeting in the National Security Council, and members of Obama's National Security Council, some people think, including the present whistleblower, told Ukrainian officials to dig up dirt on Trump Jr., and Manafort. In the White House, they said, dig up dirt. And they had the gall to investigate Trump for 2.5 years and $35 million for a phony collusion with Russia when they were colluding to the tune of millions of dollars with the Ukraine. They were charging him with the crime that they know they committed. And the reason these phonies are carrying out this impeachment proceeding is there's a lot more Democratic corruption in Ukraine than you ever thought. You think it's just Biden who was cashing in the Ukraine? And then every time you hear the word Biden was Obama's point man, there's something that follows. The Biden family makes millions of dollars. They got an investment in a $1.5 billion housing program in Iraq when Biden was named point man. They made anywhere from $8 to $20 million in Ukraine, and they got $1.5 billion from the Bank of China when he was point man for China. And the other thing about it is Biden family got rich, millions, each place. In each place, he failed the United States.
Right. And where's that money?
He failed. He didn't get a status of forces agreement in Iraq. Right. He couldn't do a damn thing about corruption in Ukraine except make it worse. Joe Biden is a laughingstock in Ukraine. He would go there. He went there 13 times. He'd go there and say, you shouldn't be corrupt. And they'd look at him and say, what, are you kidding? Right. Your son's got a no-show job for millions of dollars. You're in the pocket of Zlochevsky, and you're telling us not to be corrupt. You know how that hurts the United States of America?
I have a feeling you could go clear till noon when your podcast starts. Rudy, give it up for Rudy Giuliani. We're going to be watching. We're going to be watching.
That's the real case.
A lot of headlines out of that.
That's only the tip of the iceberg. There are other people involved. There's a lot more money involved. There was a pattern of corruption there.
Yeah, we got to go. And the president wants you to continue this? The president wants to get you to continue this investigation?
Well, would you like me to give it up? Would you like me to just say, okay, Biden can keep his $8 million that he got in bribes. He can keep all the bribes that they got in.
We're waiting for noon.
Should I give it up, Brian?
I'll just
go leave.
okay.
All right,
I'm scared of them attacking me. They're a bunch of phonies. I did my job as an attorney. I did it well. I did it honorably. And I did the country a service in bringing out this corruption that everybody else is afraid to touch.
All right, Rudy Giuliani.
Please subscribe to our backup channels, Net4Truth USA 2 Patriot channel, BitChute.com/net4Truth USA, and drop.space/ Net4Truth USA. We fly so close to the target, we are on our 5th fighter jet. We will be relentless and persistent until the enemies of freedom are defeated. You can support this channel by using the links in the description, but for a $100 donation, I will personally send you a autographed hardcover special edition copy of Land of Childhood's Fears. Also, visit my bookstore at lulu.com/Net4Truth USA. If you are viewing this video on BitChute, you can use the links in the description to support us, or simply click the green $ dot on our video to support this channel. Thank you. Links are in the description section.